Hello, my dear friends. It's always an extreme pleasure to take some time and talk with you about problems and stuff. I hate that everybody has problems, but we need to get them all fixed up and everybody get happy. Although I tell you, there's so much going on this planet. It's amazing. All the different levels of consciousness, and just amazing. I was reading this the quite lengthy oration, 20, 30 pages, almost 30-some pages from a judge, The Matrix and the U.S. Constitution. If you ever have a chance to find this, I'm going to put it up on our website. But this really applies to more Brits and Americans, but more Americans than anything. I think you'll be quite shocked what this judge has to say. I've had a lot of years studying law and the government and stuff like that, of course, and this pretty much goes along with what many others have discovered and found out about what's been going on in law and stuff in our court system and the Article 3 courts and, international law and all that stuff like that. The average American would literally be shocked. But I don't know what can be done about it. It's too late for America, as far as I'm concerned. It's just too late. It's a matter of time. So it's to see how God has things planned, because everything is in just there's all kinds of levels of playtime. And you've all probably experienced it one journey or another through these different levels, They're just different levels. One doesn't have to let them get to you. But I wanted to just mention this incredible woman. Her name's Michelle, and she wrote a book, Still Wearing My Heels. If you ever get a chance to read that, we're going to have it for sale for her, but she's already been around. This is, people get mad sometimes when you talk too much about things, but we are in trouble in our healthcare systems. And if you don't realize that by now, you will, because it's just going to get a lot worse. Because there's no curative value when you don't understand what causes anything. When you don't understand what causes man's suffering and you try to treat the symptoms from that, and you don't understand the chemistry of diets and how all that is, and how all that's effectual to fluids and all this other stuff, you're just not going to be what we call a healer. You're not going to be involved in that. So I've always been scared of pharmaceuticals. Pain meds is something that we grope for when we're really in a lot of pain, and there are some pharmaceuticals that's nice. But then we also have the unrefined stuff, like the opium and stuff, that's more pure in some ways of looking at it. But it's enough to say that most pharmaceuticals are not needed and very bad stuff. And to show you this one, this is a sad case. She took a pharmaceutical. She fell on her bicycle, hit her head, and went into a seizure. They treated her as if she had epilepsy. And this is what happened to her. And she told me she lost 95% of her skin. She said I could talk about it, so I will. Burned one of her eyes out, and the other one's almost gone. This is sad stuff, guys. Sad stuff. Majorly burnt. Now, was that pharmaceutical an alkali or was it an acid? Not good. Just really sad stuff. And it shows you the nature of acids and what acids can do to you. That's a sad case. And we're going to help her. Whatever it takes. God. Just another lady sent this in, and I wanted to. This is Oh, Kate, thanks, sweetheart. I want to talk about this a little bit. I think we need to talk a little about women's health. And she's talking about your monthly cycles or your monthly periods. And I think that, and she brings up some excellent stuff, and I've known this, and I've talked about it on other videos to some degree. But I found this out back in the early 70s as a fruitarian, and I had some friends who were females that went fruitarian with us. And they had the same experience. And when you realize that your monthly cycles is a cleansing cycle. We have natural cleansing cycles in the human body. Wouldn't that be essential to keep a machine healthy and running? Is that periodically it cleans itself? That would be cool if we could design something like that. But God did, and it cleans itself, and it heals itself. Man just hasn't learned what to put in it and what not to put down it as a fuel source. But your monthly cycles is a cleansing cycle. And of course it uses an acid to accomplish this. But estrogen is not an over-acidic acid. So that's a nice part of that. It's not a 3pHer like your cellular acids are. So the cleaner a female is interstitially, and the cleaner her lymph system is, the cleaner her uterine is, and the ovaries, and the same thing all through you. And so the less bleeding has to happen. The more toxic you are, the heavier the bleeding, the more odorous, all this kind of stuff. If you're a meat eater, expect a smelly period. The same way as smelly underarms. These are putefactive issues. They stink. And if someone calls that health, call it health if you want. We don't. So your periods will be scanty, very thin, not much to it. No cramping, no excessive bleeding. Now, let's talk about that in a minute, because irregular menses and excessive bleeding can also be hormonal. And so where are the main influence, which glands, in other words, are the main influence on a female? Well, pituitary and ovaries, right? Pituitary controls the ovaries with FSH. There's also luteinizing hormones, all kinds of stuff that's coming out of the pituitary for the female. When your cycles are irregular, then we've talked about this before, it's a pituitary issue. Our female reproductive formula, I highly recommend females to use that for a while, especially while we have false unicorn root. And tone your female organs up. But again, these are just cells like any other tissue in the body. They're specialized, of course, like every other tissue in the body. And they have blood and lymph supplied to them. So if you want to clean up anything in your body, you're cleaning up through what system? The lymphatic system. That's the one for endometriosis, atypical cells, ovarian cysts, uterine fibroids. These sort of things are all linked to the lymph system. So what would be your problem? Fibrocystic breast, same way. Just a precursor for the tumors. What system do you have down? The lymphatic system. That's kidney and adrenals. We talked about this before. Your adrenal estrogen keeps your vaginal wall moist. If you're one of the ladies that has had a hysterectomy, you have vaginal dryness, that's your adrenal glands. I had a pediatrician in here. She forgot that the body has many sources of estrogen. Ovarian estrogen is for the uterus. Those ovaries shrivel up when you're done. That house is closed. Interesting question is, how long in a raw food state, how old could you be and still stay fertile? They claim when you use your eggs up, that's it. But when we claim things, there's just so much we think that's not true. Because this planet has never experienced in the human race an elevation of health. And especially in the levels some of you guys are getting. Humans have never been to these levels before unless they've done this. And there's very few through the centuries that have done this level. So some of you are going to get healthier than man's been for quite a while. And so that's the need to change the genes and everything else. And that's if that's supposed to be. This could just be your ticket home. You know, I don't profess to know sometimes all of that because it's too deep. Sometimes we're sent on things and find out, oh, you know. So I don't know. Vaginal wall, you want to use Hill All tea and douche for a couple of weeks. Take 2 weeks and douche every night. Now, I talked about that on a video a couple of days ago for atypical cells. Clean your body out. This idea of using yogurt implants and stuff like that, I don't know who comes up with this stupidity of how people take care of themselves. I just find some really low levels here. But anyway, it's enough to say that you never want to use yogurts or anything else like that. You use the botanicals. You want to worry about bacteria seeding themselves, stop, because that's the natural law of life. So I think it's important for ladies to realize when you're menstruating and you're a raw foodist that it's going to be good. It's going to be better than it ever was. But you also have to remember and take in consideration your endocrine glands and make sure your pituitary is healthy, your thyroids are healthy, your adrenals are healthy, and that sort of thing. And how you get something healthy is to change how you're making them unhealthy. Well, let me see. Could it be chemistry that has anything to do with this? Everything to do with this. And everything you eat is chemistry. Just because man classifies something as a food doesn't make it so. And particularly for our species. And this is one of our problems. We're running around like one guy over here saying this, one guy over here saying this, one guy here over saying this, and it's like, okay. Everybody's in conflict with each other, the healer levels. And that's because everybody buys into the propaganda set up by the medical profession, which is just an arm of the Illuminati, World Bank stuff. In its own way, look at Rockefeller is the controlling party of the AMA. So this is all just disseminated misinformation and propaganda. The government's been doing this forever. Matter of fact, in America, the average person has no clue of what we've done to the world and things like that. And some of you have to realize that us Americans are ignorant of what our government's been doing a lot. So I understand you guys don't want me to talk about that a lot, but there's some bad things coming, and I highly recommend you guys become aware of it. And I mean bad things that's got slated coming. And the messages have been all around us for a long time now. And so protect yourselves. That's all this is about, is protect yourself, because there's no changing it that I see. So on your making your females healthy is making your body healthy. You know, and this whole thing about using steroids or hormones or we're going to get the bioidentical crap. I mean, it's just another names for confusing people to understand that there's no such thing as a bioidentical steroids. I can pull your saliva, I can pull your blood work. Both are highly inaccurate for hormones and steroid looks. So, and we know that if we take them, we make the respective tissues weaker, so that's a no-brainer. A lot of ladies get themselves in big trouble because they're taking steroids or hormones. And that doesn't help anything. It just shuts everything down and artificially stimulates the other side. So you always want to make healthy tissue. Tissue already is created, knows what its job is, its consciousness is there. We're burning dirty fuels. We're burning the wrong fuels in our bodies. People, they might not like fruit or whatever. They got to get used to it. We're frugivores. We're islander species. We got to go back there. We have not adapted to this insane omnivorish diet. Someone said something on one of these requests way back about doesn't the human body adapt? Take a look at it. Chemistry is chemistry, and there might be some minor adaptation because you'd see that as species change, but this species is about to terminate itself. You know, there are species that do terminate itself, and this is one of them. So I suppose that God wants this species to continue because the answers to the problems that's holding this species back is coming out now. So I don't know, but I thought this was a good article she wrote, or at least put up here. And so, you know, you might want to, I don't know if it's available or it's online, whatever it is. It says, periods, they may be normal, but are they healthy? Okay, that's a nice little thing for that. Okay. Nuts and phytic acid. Well, you know, I've been talking about phytic acid in a long time. We particularly know that in soybeans, because soy is the highest, I think, bean with phytic acid in it. And phytic acid is just an inhibitor of germination, basically. And so that's been my point. If you eat enzyme inhibitors, there's going to be a blowback to your enzymatic action, too. So I'm not a favor of nuts and things like this. A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's not that I don't like them. I love them. That's the trouble. This is showing a handful of nuts. You eat that many nuts, and you're really going to fill your kidneys. Kidneys do not like high-protein diets, period. And when you have kidney weakness, just show you. Show you. Remember I told you about the medical doctor? We showed him just what protein does on kidney weakness and kidney pain. So, a good friend of mine, he won't be giving people protein when they're in pain, that's for sure. And that's a big one for you guys. Any of you guys in pain, you don't do the proteins. Anything acidic is going to exacerbate your pain. But phytic acid, you know, it's just, it's also the protein content, the complexity of the nuts and things like this. Like I say, a hard shell on them meant to eat, maybe a couple of them. I'll say pine nuts, so pignolia nuts, I think are more suited for our species. More oils, things like that. I do have some percentages. We're going to try to get up on the website for you. Matter of fact, I'm going to have a meeting with Chris and Shannon here in a little bit. I want to change this website up. But he's talking about in milligrams per 100 grams of dry weight. Let me see, high phytic acid, quite a bit in a lot of these, to be honest with you. So just another thing to really watch out for. And I've talked about this, and I got a lot of crap at it at first. But now people are starting to realize and starting to feel that. When you're up there on a high diet of energy, of fruits and berries and melons and maybe some veggies, and then you do a protein, you can feel it. You can feel it, especially if you have pain or you have some weaknesses in the body. You can feel it. Like I say, if you're in pain, take about 2 weeks and just go raw. Even a week, just go all raw. Mostly fruits, berries, and melons, maybe some salads. And then try your big steak and potatoes there. You'll feel it. Okay. All right. But thanks for those. I love the stuff you guys send in. I try to read everything I can about that, because we want to eventually make our website, the club's website, really nice, so you can really get on and do research all you want on that. So we're excited about that. And Marcy found some more research related to the thymus gland, and I mentioned that on another video. And that was important to me because of that little baby. That this was a court case over in Miami where they filed manslaughter charges against the parents because this baby died on a raw food program. And the baby was so underdeveloped, it was horrible. And I have to admit that I thought the diet could have been better, but it was raw, and there's nutrition there and all this. And so what they found, and they found a raw food pediatrician in Miami that came and talked to the court about it. And of course, you can't prove in a court of law chemically that cooked food is better or that Ensure and all that is better chemically and electrically. Not even close. Matter of fact, you can show that they create a lot of problems chemically. So, but anyway, they ended up getting off except for child neglect. And it's like, child neglect for giving your baby raw foods. But they found it was a thymus gland. It was a genetically mutated thymus gland. And nowhere had I ever read thymus gland produces growth hormones. Well, we found it. And you got to dig, dig, dig. I bet you the average endocrinologist has no idea. No idea. Let me see what this is. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's see if we can get some of the questions gone through here, and we can get caught up here a little bit. There's no such thing with you guys getting caught up. Suffer from migraine. Dr. Morse, my name is Tulay. I live in the UK. I have been suffering from migraines for about 36 years. I hate migraines. I grew up with them. Didn't realize it was the milk getting it to me because I had major sinus. I didn't realize I had stomach as well, so I didn't realize some of these things. But as soon as I got off the dairy products and I cleaned myself out, guess what went away? So I highly recommend that you get your GI tract cleaned up and you get your sinuses dumped and cleaned up. Big time on that. I get them every month and it lasts 3 or sometimes 4 days. That sucks. Migraines are horrible if you guys have never had one. During this time, I'm in bed, unable to eat or drink anything and throwing up constantly. That's what I'm saying. You really want to clean up your GI tract and get away from all the dairies, all the meats, and all this. Start draining your sinuses. You can work on your cerebellum with some hot and cold applications. Work on your neurolymphatic system. Start getting your body cleaned up because they're very familiar with this problem. It seems to do with my period. Again, got to remember, as you kick up acidosis, you kick up inflammation. And it's just all in part of that. You can spasm. And that's another thing you might think about here, is taking a look at your parathyroid gland, just out of the sake of looking at that. I have a poor digestive system. Kind of thought so. Yep. And my sinuses are playing up again. Yeah, you're walking right down the same line that I found that was my migraines too. And this is just what you're saying right here. And a friend recently suggests that the migraines might be linked to the thyroid problem. Well, I would say probably more to, if you do have a thyroid problem, more to why you have a thyroid problem. That would be your lymphatic system. And remember, this is a volatile, this is inflammation, this is spasticity, this is all kinds of things. Hell, when your blood doesn't get there, it just flatly kills you. This has all the other problems. The painful, the migraines, all the other stuff. That's the lymph system. I have been cleansing myself for the last 15 years. Well, I dig deeper. I would get into the herbs, clean up my bowels, get on the GI broom, make sure your kidneys are filtering, get your blood pressure, check that, get your adrenals up, get everything, get your pituitary, look at your endocrine glands, play with that, get your body healthy. Just go after that. A little probably deeper than you've been, because if you've been a raw foodist for 15 years, there's no way you have migraines. So, especially emotionally, letting go of the past and forgiving. Yeah. Well, we got to. We've got to, if you want to survive, guys, what's coming to this level, and it's going to be on the emotional and mental levels with it, that all works together. You want to learn how to get beyond your mind. You want to learn how, what we've been talking about in all these videos, to quiet the mind and become awake. That's your survival. You won't be lied to. You won't be put in fusion centers because you'll be able to protect yourself. Meditating, being with nature as much as I can, but I don't think I've been doing the same with my diet. I began completely vegetarian last year. I don't drink milk, and I'm on my way being vegan. Well, I think you ought to kick it up another notch, because if you're writing me, I'm going to tell you dump all of that, go raw, 100% raw. What's the big deal? 100% raw for a few months, or even 6 months or a year. Who cares? Raw. You got to train. What you guys have to do is retrain your minds who have been trained by others. So you have to take the responsibility of retraining this, because governments have been loving to train it. It's just the school systems. Who controls all these things? The governments. So, we've been brainwashed, and now we have to seek the truth. And that's what the awakening process is all about. When you're asleep, this is unbelievable what's going on at all these levels. God playing all types of games at all levels. But when you wake up, you see what's really going on. to get yourself free from the mess, because it's a mess, and just get yourself free from that. I've been eating raw food, fruits and veggies for the last 2 months. Yeah, but you said you've been 15 years, and you really want to get raw, honey, and get this out of you, because migraines are just a huge warning. For the last 2 months now, and started talking with the doctor. Oh, good, pain tincture a week ago. I don't know if an herbal pain tincture is going to help. We use, for migraines, we use the antispasmodic and the pain tincture. When you feel it coming on, take it now. And that should stop it before it comes on. Take it when you're full bore. I don't know. I don't know if ours is strong enough for that. Try the antispasmodic, though. That's better because it's more like spasms. With that said, just like I said earlier, and you're confirming that right down in this question, is your sinuses and your bowels. And that's exactly what I find to be the problem. And if you clean that up, sweetheart, you'll be good. This is Maria. My name is Maria. 7 months ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Yuck. I didn't want to get my thyroid. You didn't, meaning you probably did. Let's see. I didn't want to get my thyroid out and to do radioactive iodine, but I refused. I have my, oh, good. I have my right side compromised and lymph nodes swollen in my right side. Well, you know it's your right kidney there, honey. And you just got to get that kidney filtering. But you can't treat one kidney over another, of course. But yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And this is good to show you that probably your right lobe is involved in the thyroid. I have an 8-month-old baby, and I'm breastfeeding her. Oh, my God. She seems to be a very healthy baby. I decided to get into juicing and eating organic foods. I went to a naturopath, and he got lots of supplements as well, to a doctor that works in functional medicine. Okay. You said 7 months ago. Okay. I don't know where you're at now on this, honey, but you're 8 months out breastfeeding, right? Okay. It is time. Excuse me, sorry. Been detoxing myself. It is time that you move your baby into fruits. You need to start doing that. My grandson has been, he's 3, but he started getting into fruits about 4th month or so. And I mean, this kid isn't lacking anything. So it's enough to say that I would start introducing fruits and stuff and weaning, because you need to dig in here. You know, I've said this before, talking about cancer and pregnancy and cancer and mama's breastfeeding, and it's like you have to save your life or you won't be there for your babies. So forget the breastfeeding right now. I would, and I move away from that, because the level of work you need to do to get this out of you is going to be strict. And you don't want the baby to detoxify at the level you're going to be detoxifying. I've had that happen before. I had a mother that had cancer that I was detoxifying, and it detoxified the baby's skin right off of it. Built a brand new nice skin, but it must have been a weak skin. Your weaknesses will be terminated out of your body, and medical doc people don't know how to understand that. They'll grow back, but your weaknesses. So you want to save yourself. And the first thing is, I'm a fruit, berry, and melon man. When you have tumors and things like this, because it's your lymph system that you've got to get after, and you probably got that by now. So you need to get into the kidneys, adrenals, get your baby off, get your baby on fruit, coconut water, things like that. You can grind up red delicious apples, put some cinnamon, make a nice little applesauce. There's a lot of things you can start doing now to get that baby growing muscularly. I mean, really, everything growing. The other side of this, you're a baby and you've got the cancer, meaning this baby probably has adrenal and kidney weakness as well. So you want to be thinking about that. That's why the fruits, berries, and melons for your baby right now is key, because it will start regenerating the weaknesses out of these tissues. That's number one and very important, and you can always work on your baby later with some herbs. But you have to get this thyroid cancer out of you. Cutting out the thyroid is not the answer. There's no question about that. because you're not fixing the problem. You'll just tumor up somewhere else on that side. So you have to really dig into this. And again, I go full bore detox when there is a diagnosis like that. I go full bore detox. Fruits, berries, and melons only. I get into the kidneys, adrenals, that you clean up the GI tract, which you're going to want to because this is sitting right up on it. You know, clean yourself up, sweetheart, because you want to get rid of this thyroid cancer. If you, I mean, well, they use the word cancer, but if you've got a tumor in there, you want to get it out. It's just going to chew up your thyroid gland. Killing the thyroid isn't the answer, and killing all this stuff, obviously, none of that stuff's working. And you could pull it out with some black salve over here, but I'll tell you what, you really want to get this fixed. And to get, you're going to get 100% raw, get you on your kidney formulas, get on the 14-week protocol. That's for any of these levels. If you need help, get a hold of one of us to help you with some suggestions and get your feet on the path. But get your feet on the path. 7 months is long enough to mess around with this. Let's get that out of there, okay, honey? So that would be my high recommendation. Your baby's time is now to get them on fruit, and your time to get deep in your body and get rid of this tumor. I have a question for you about my husband. He would write himself, but he is French. Oh, you got a Frenchman, eh? Who is working very hard trying to get himself well, but is very worried about his weight loss. He has just been on a 3-week grape fast, and his weight is now down to 49 kilos, which I believe is 108 pounds for a weight of 5'11". Yeah, no question, skinny. He will shortly be sending a photo of his eye for a written report, but in the meantime, we would really appreciate your feedback on his weight issue. I don't know if I've gotten it yet. I mean, I've got some eyes. I'm working at home, 14-week protocol, so I might already have his at home. I don't know. I've talked about weight a great deal on this. And I think we even have a video on weight, excessively thin. And let's retouch on this, and hopefully Chris can highlight that, and we can use this over and over. But realize that when someone is on raw and they get real skinny, they're malabsorbed. You can just go to that already. I didn't get real skinny. Tons of people don't get real skinny. If you're malabsorbed, you're going to get skinny. And so, because the high proteins and lipids are the only things supporting people that are malabsorbed, and not very well at that. So, the first thing is you have to fix malabsorption. This is essential. And if you're going to fix this, because if you don't, you will have a major amount of problems in your life, not only nutritional deficiencies, and that's the only way you could have them, basically, if you're eating raw foods, is to be digestively and malabsorbed. So this is a big deal. Malabsorption is a big deal, and the question is, what is it? When someone says I'm malabsorbed, what do they mean? You absorb your nutrition through the villi of the bowel, and our bowels are ribbed, so we have all this absorption. Carnivores have smooth GI tracts for minimal absorption. How interesting is that? Ours are designed like the herbivores for maximum absorption of nutrients. So some nutrients absorbed into right through the bowel wall, right through the mucosa, into what? Into the interstitial spaces of the blood and lymphatic capillaries. And these lymphatic capillaries take the lipids and who knows what else, and the blood does the minerals and other nutrition. The question is about the proteins. So, what would block the absorption of nutrients from inside the canal, the hose, through the hose wall into the capillaries of blood and lymph? What could possibly block that? Well, there's no question that a lot of the food we eat is mucus forming, right? When you're eating food that's mucus forming, you're eating food that's not a food, it's not good for you, your body doesn't want it, and therefore you have a mucosic response. Mucus. And dairy proteins are high on that order. But so is a lot of other ones, to be honest with you. Gluten proteins. Well, when you just strip out the whole grain of this, and you're down to the refinedness of the white flour, you have super glue. And so we develop like amyloid plaque, we call it mucoid plaque in the bowels. And it gets black and rubbery. Sometimes you can see it with a colonoscopy because it looks like it's mucus, a thick coating of mucus. But once it gets out, starts to come out, it turns black. Some people have black. Matter of fact, if I had them right in my hands, I could grab them and not take the time. I would show you Dr. Jensen's endo and colonoscopies before and after the herbal program we put him on, and you'll be shocked at how black Dr. Jensen's bowels were before we put him on an herbal program and how clean we cleaned him up. And we have that somewhere. I show it in class a lot so you can see, what cleaning up the GI tract does and what this black mucoid plaque looks like. If I can find those the next time, I'll show you. But it's enough to say that a lot of the foods build up a residue, chemical residue, plaque or whatever you want to call it, on the GI tract wall, on the mucosic wall. And that is a blocker, of course. And then, how about the lymph system in the gut wall? When your lymph system backs up, that means the spaces around the cells become stagnant with mucus and proteins. And that's exactly what you see in the brain in Alzheimer's, and that's exactly what you see in a cancer cell. There's no mystery to these things, guys. There's just no mystery to them. When you understand how the body works and a little bit about chemistry and the proteins and things, you'll understand why all this is happening like that. So you can't worry about the thinness because you have to fix it. And if you don't fix it, all this lymph saturating the bowel wall will burn the bowel wall. And then you'll have enteritis, small bowel inflammation, colitis, large bowel inflammation, gastritis, stomach, esophagitis. And you go right on up, baby. Right on up. And that's just what the problem is out there. We're fighting this. But that's all. We make such a big deal out of all these deep problems, but make it simple. It's time people learn to have fun in lives and experience life instead of fighting their health issues all the time. So it's no question that everything you've learned about health is wrong. These are lies. This is propaganda, special interests. All this is involved in this. And the ironic thing, but this is creation, we didn't create all this. But the ironic thing is the blowback is on everybody, including the people that blocked your freedom. They get theirs blocked too. People that get sick, people that tell you what to eat, they get sick too, telling you what to eat. So yeah, you can't worry about the weight. You are putting in the highest chemical and electrical foods on the planet. Fruits, berries, and melons, particularly berries, are the highest chemical foods on the planet. I mean, these are where all the nutrition is, guys. Especially ripe, picked ripe, picked ripe, picked ripe. Good green drinks, of course, good stuff there too. But that's the sum of it. You don't have to look any further than that. That's it. You don't need to. There's nothing in nothing. What's healthy about dead beans, dead grains, dead animals, their milks? What's healthy about that? Pastas and stuff. What's healthy about that? Absolutely nothing, honey. Absolutely nothing. And people can argue all day long. Of course, what do we do with these things? We sprout them. Better. But if you truly want to do sprouts, alfalfa is the best, no question, in my book. I would like to give you a little bit of background info about him as, let me go on down through. He was very often sick as a child and suffered enormously from asthma and eczema. So immediately we know from childhood this guy's kidneys and lymphatic system is down, down, down. Why the asthma? What can we blame on the asthma? The adrenal glands. Asthma is a neurological problem. You could have mucus with it as well in the lungs like pneumonia, but this is a neurological problem, the adrenal glands. Part of all COPDs have neurological weakness with that. That's that out-breath, impossible. So right off, I can tell you right here, he was born with kidney and adrenal weaknesses, and you can imagine his lymph system now. So there's your malabsorption, there's your thinness, and probably has involved pancreas and liver involved too. So remember the 4 phases that are essential to be well. Digestion and absorption are the 2 fundamental ones, right? essential, or you're done right there. How about utilization of the nutrients? The bioavailability is much more involved in absorption and utilization. Utilization of nutrients requires hormones and steroids. If calcium just doesn't walk around as a free radical and used by the body with nothing. We're guided, and our guides are our endocrine glands. And these are all hooked to the chakras, which are all hooked to the Godhead. These are energy centers from the Godhead that sustain life at all these different levels. Amazing stuff out there. And explain what he is trying to heal on this program. He was very often, okay, we got it on that. Okay. Asthma attacks came back on the grape fast. We understand that as part of the detox process. Well, the problem with that is that when you go on raw foods, you're off the stimulants. Now you have pure chemistry and pure magnetics of the food itself. Man is used to stimulated eating. Most of what man eats are stimulants. So when most people start their detox, and we've talked just about meat eating, remember the neurotransmitters in meat? Your epinephrines, your epis? When you stop meat eating, you stop proteins, the stimulants, the beans and all this stuff, you can get a blowback, and the blowback is real chronic fatigue. Now you get to see, and that's while you're eating all this good chemistry and all this good electricity, you're still feeling more tired. Why is that? And that's called neurotransmitters, a lack thereof. And that is your adrenal glands. You've been stimulating your energy levels all your life, and now you're about to crash a little bit. Okay, now build it the right way. Fix your adrenal glands, make them healthy, build up your neurotransmitter production. That's the systolic blood pressure at the top. You want at least 120 to 130 to have a good day. So these are the things that you want to work on here. But these are the type of symptoms that he's had since he was a young person. So he's had these weaknesses. And so through the years, all this lymph system has been backing up. The myelin sheaths have been weakening, because no one's fixed him. He also had pneumonia. Well, I mean, you got two things going on here. You're loaded with congestion, no question, and you're neurologically weak. So that brings you into the COPD chain, which is not good and not fun. So clean this up. He was always felt too thin, malabsorption. He's 39 years old. He presents the following health problems. Large varicose veins on both legs at 39 years old. So you guys, what are we going to tell this lady to do with this? The wife of the man. First of all, parathyroid gland. You want to make sure you want to get your husband on a parathyroid. And this is the time I would use a glandular. And I would use a glandular parathyroid. Ours is till we get our 50s. We only have 10, so I double them 2, maybe 3 times a day with the Bones formula. Also lower circulation, very helpful. And get on a raw food diet. You got to start absorbing your nutrition. He's starving to death. And so you could even be starving for calcium. But you got to start somewhere. And this is why these kits have, one, stomach and bowel formulas and GI brooms. Both of those are aggressively trying to clean and restore bowel function. They're not laxatives. They're restoratives. They're cleansers, rebuilders. That's what we want. We just don't want to rip people with, you see that in herbalists around there. They put you on these laxatives and all these things. That's not what health is about. You got to build your health. You got to start and fix the human body from the genetic weaknesses you got to all the mucus and stuff and proteins you put in. You got to detox all this out, all the heavy metals and stuff like this. Small hernia, again, tied to the parathyroid gland. I definitely would go after this parathyroid gland. And you might want to take a picture of the eyes and make sure it's not the pituitary doing it. Most worryingly, a hard mass several centimeters wide in the abdomen, just underneath the navel and slightly to the right. Ooh, doctors are unable to say what it is. You have a scan? He had a scan, should read on, but did not want further tests because they involved injecting some metallic product in the abdomen. The hard mass is growing. It is not really painful, but seems to cause the intestines around to change shape to fit around it, wouldn't you think? So if it's not the colon itself, and it's an external mass, it doesn't matter if it is the colon itself, but I hope it's not. I hope it's an external mass to the colon, or on the side of the colon. Which system is that? Which system in your body is tumors, inflammation, cysts, boils, pimples? Your lymph system. You have a lymph system, and this lymph system is what all these videos are about. I mean, we clean up the blood and related organs, but that's easy. That's like, okay, we done that, okay. Do that blindfolded. It's the lymph system, that's the baby. You can clean the blood up. That's the beauty of the blood. Easy to clean the blood up. So, to reverse the hard mass, what do you got to do? And he's neurologically weak from the adrenal glands, so that means what? That means obviously his kidneys are not filtering, and that's obvious because he's got a mass in there. So you got to go after the adrenals and kidneys. You got to do anyway to deal with the COPD, so to speak, the asthma. But you got to get this mass out, and the kidney's the way to do it. You can't pull it out of his belly with black salve, but if it's a big one, it's not going to be a fun thing. So just keep in mind, you can pull this mass out of his abdomen with black salve. But you want to fix the kidney connection because he's malabsorbed, he's everything else going. So you want to fix this. You can always pull the mass out if it's not coming down fast enough, blah, 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 blah. But again, it'll grow back if you don't fix the kidneys and the lymph system. So I'd be getting with this real quick. French are already a little thin, right? He does not sleep very well despite going to bed early. And again, he's high up in here. I said, parathyroid could have a pituitary connection to it. You're talking about a pineal gland up in the head, so there's inflammation in the pineal gland. Probably isn't the pituitary and all up in here. All these years, no one's fixed him. Going way back, his kidneys and adrenals have been down way back. Probably genetic, so this gentleman has had nothing but lymphatic problems. He's only 39 years old. So you might want to get a little pineal, glandular, and I would do 1 to 2 BS. That's before sleep. 1 to 2 hours before sleep. You might want to do 1 to 2, and not the melatonin. I would do the pineal. At the same time, you want to get up in here, upper circ, brain and nerves, start cleaning, start getting the sinuses to move, get the back, all of these things that is obvious in the cleansing of the human body and the restoration of the human body. Because this is what you're doing. You must clean to restore, and then you also want to regenerate. These are our words. This is what we do. We don't care what anybody else does. He does. Apart from the above, his energy levels are good. That's amazing. And he feels good within himself. That's amazing. He did a water fast 12 days. That's really amazing. He had been on an almost exclusively raw diet since then. That is very good, amazing. Most of August was a grape fast. That's even more amazing. And now he would like to stay on 100% fruit, but he is losing so much weight. Don't worry about the weight. It'll come right back on him. Don't worry about the weight. It'll come right back on you. You might look like a scarecrow for a little while. It'll come right back on you. But this time it'll be muscles. This time it'll be the right weight. You'll save your gut. You'll save your body. Because if you don't, you'll lose your gut. Because again, this is interstitial lymphatic constipation. Let's see. And you do a little weight going on a water fast. That'll pop up a little bit. But then you could, let's get the mass out. That's the key. Getting the mass out will fix the malabsorption, will fix the asthma, will fix everything. Isn't that beautiful? But you got to get the mass out. He is taking the following herbs: thyroid, thymus. Yeah, you know what? I probably shift to the parathyroid with the bones formula. And might still be, oh, you got strong bones. That's perfect, perfect, perfect. I would do the parathyroid, but a kelp supplement, okay, that is good. GI broom, that is excellent. Lung tonics 1 and 2, that's excellent. Now remember, this is a neurological problem, not just the pneumonia was mucus, but asthma is neurological. So you want to go brain and nerve, and I would do upper circulation too, because you got to get blood going up into these glands upstairs, and into the central nervous system. Spasm come when he has an asthma attack. Good thinking. You want to use that one instead of an inhaler. They are cancer-causing. They lock the sputum in. Kidneys, that's smart. He is about to begin using castor oil packs on his abdomen. I'd get a lot more aggressive. You're not taking anything for the lymph system. I take 2 kidney formulas. You want something for the adrenals. Depends what his blood pressure is. If his blood pressure is low, what is his blood pressure? I don't see it. Anyway, you might want to have somebody help you initially for the first couple of months here. It's up to you. Get a counselor. We're not that expensive. And get your foot on the path, because you want, I would do lymphatic 5 capsules, 2-3 times a day. I do stomach and bowel. If he's moving his bowels, 1, if not 2 or 3, 2-3 times a day. I would do kidney capsule, kidney tincture, a lymph node, say maybe 3, upper circulation, brain and nerve. I'd probably do liver, gallbladder just to clean that out while I'm doing it. Shift to that later, to the skin formula. Think about the parathyroid, etc., etc., etc. Please could you advise he does not want to slow the detoxification? Yes, I did. The fruit is essential. Fruits, berries, and melons only. You got a mass now. Now the story's a little different. You want to get this mass out, particularly if it's growing. It's only growing because you're not fixing it. You're not getting your kidneys to filter. Once they start filtering, that mass should start growing, and then everything start receding. Keep in mind, if not, you can always pull it out. Not the thing you always want to do, but you want to get this to back up and go out itself. And it will, if your kidneys are strong enough and you get them filtering fast enough and everything is good that way. We understand that there's probably a malabsorption issue, do you think? But we are wondering how long this could take to resolve. Could be 6 months even. But you'll start to see weight come right back on him, because it's not the foods that are doing this, believe it or not. Strongest animals on the planet are fruitarians. Nobody in their right mind messes with monkeys or gorillas. You just don't do something like that. They'll rip you apart. And they're very similar species, not much difference. So, and when you guys are on fruits, what do you start to feel? And this is true for you athletes too, believe this or not. And you runners, holy crap. But all I can tell you is you feel the power of your muscles coming in you never felt before. There's a power that spirit has, or the prana, life force, or whatever, that comes into these tissues. I don't know how to explain it. You get stronger with smaller muscles by far. It's just, I can't even explain the strength and agility you can get with this. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. So it's worth going through. But you got to go through this anyway, because if you don't fix the malabsorption, there's the next tumor. See what I'm saying? You're starting to grow it in this area anyway. So none of this is good. You want to get back. Be careful for your thoughts. He is really dedicated to the fruit diet. Needs to be. Jess, okay. Thank you. Recently wrote about you and my father who has Parkinson's. Oh, okay, here we go. I recently wrote to you about my father who has Parkinson's and who was following the Pearl Mutter. Yeah, right. I can see Pearl Mutter cleaning up all the Parkinson's. He watched your video and is now doing 100% raw. Boy, I would. I mean, when you get into these devastating issues, and especially neurological, well, you can't mess around with these. You can't mess around with them. We've had some good experiences with neurological cases, that's for sure. Dear Dr. Morse, I was hoping you could help me with my wife, Katie. Absolutely. She has been having a lot of anxiety and panic attacks for a little over a year now. So we can stop right there and you know immediately where that's coming from. Very common stuff amongst everybody right now. Not only just due to all this, but the adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands takes a beat up with your happiness. It rides with your emotions. It rides with your kidneys. So when your kidneys back up, the first thing that gets backed up is the adrenal glands, unfortunately. So this is low adrenals. Now, she either has low blood pressure or high blood pressure, and high blood pressure is really low blood pressure. So you want to work with this. Depends what her blood pressure is, but on the top, systolic is what you're looking for. The bottom's your kidneys. So your kidney pressure, you want between 60 and 70. But your top number, 120 to 130. The lower you go, the more chronic fatigue you feel. So when you pull down into the hundreds, You're getting more tired and more tired. In the 90s, very chronic fatigue, and in the 80s, you can't hardly lift your head up off it. And there's a lot of young people running around with 80s over, going to school, trying to learn and get educated with a blood pressure so low, it doesn't make for strong neural responses. Okay, so, and it comes on for seemingly no reason at all. And she could have now, with this, she could have neurotoxicity. There's no question. Neurotoxicity, and I know that there are some perfumes that are neurotoxins. I get around them and I can't breathe. I lose my breath, and I know they're neurotoxic. So there's a lot of chemicals that women use that are neurotoxins. I'm sure some of the cleaning materials are neurotoxins. So you got to be real careful, because the only way to get rid of neurotoxins, of course, is detoxification. With the adrenals, detoxification and regeneration. She has always had anxiety to some degree, meaning she's probably genetically compromised. But it has been getting worse and worse. It can cause severe headaches. Look at that. Usually it causes chest pain. Ooh, I don't like that at all. Difficulty breathing, not to the dangerous point. Tightness in the back muscles, irritability, etc. The list goes on. Well, again, this also does show that she's highly acidic, because this is what happens. You know, you start getting that spasm, that cramping down on that. And, of course, again, you want to increase her adrenals. I'd probably have her on the adrenals, licorice root, endocrine glands, along with the detox program of the kidneys, the bowels, and everything, and start cleaning her up that way. I mean, these things can't be treated. And you don't want to get into, how can I treat my anxiety? Just take an adrenal formula. You want to fix the whole thing of why the adrenals are down. And that always goes to the lymph system, never to the blood. You're going to help things through the blood because you're bringing the goodies in through the kitchen. But the kitchen reaches to the bathroom. And that's what you're doing. You're going through the kitchen to get to the bathroom. There's a door there. Through the kitchen leads to the bathroom. It'll come on while having a juice, eating, sitting, walking, anything. Okay, so it goes right to the stomach then. You want to clean out the GI tract, her GI tract, because the stomach is the nerve ganglia that the adrenal glands, feeds into. This is the autonomic nerve ganglia, where this is the central nerve ganglia. And it's a solar plexus stomach area. And so it sounds like when that's hitting, or when it's acidic or it turns into spasticity. And therefore gives her the migraines, gives her that kind of stuff like that. So my guess is she's got some stomach issues going on here as well, my friend. So you just want to clean up the whole body, get the adrenals up, get the GI tract cleaned up, all of this sort of thing. And she could have neurotoxicity in the stomach. She could be on her road to gastroparesis, all kinds of things. So you just turn her ship around to Wellville and start sailing to Wellville. That's your fruits, berries, and melons. That's your herbs. Go in, clean the body, regenerate the body, and you got it. Case closed. Boom. Go live life and have fun. But we've tried to identify a cause by documenting what's going on at the time, but it just confuses us because it comes at random times. Yeah. Well, when you have the neural connection like that, it can come from what she thinks, what she sees. It can come from what she eats, because the gastrointestinal area is involved in this. So you could see that from these different areas. It's affecting her sleep. She rarely sleeps through the night anymore. Well, you know what? I think it's more than anxieties. Okay? I mean, when your lymph system is down, it's down head to toe. And the best way to help you guys is don't forget to pull a picture of your eyes or her eyes or anybody's eyes and take a look at them. There's where you're going to find a lot of answers to your questions. Get used to using iridology. Simple science. Everybody should learn it in grade school and get excited over the changes in the eye. We have to get excited over things, and these kind of tools can help us do that. or it'll come on laying down in bed trying to sleep. Because she's going through spasticity, chemistry, you have to understand that in your body, nothing's static. Nothing is just sitting there hanging out looking pretty. Well, you can get real stagnation interstitially, but it's always being fed more and more. So really, even in ionization, you reach a saturation point of electrons, it starts to go the other way. Nothing hangs at the same. It's that movement, that breathing of positive and negative forces back and forth with each other, the magnetism of life, if you will. You can go on and on and on with that. When she wakes up in the morning, she needs some hydration. Well, what does that tell you? Right there tells you her biggest problem. Right there. But it would, wouldn't it? Extreme acidosis to the point of spasticity of the nervous system. Whether it's the gut, the adrenals, doesn't matter. She is so acidic. If she feels she has so dry when she wakes up, major acidosis, major dehydration. And this isn't one you can real hydrate by just drinking a little water. This is interstitial dehydration, which is how many miles of interstitial spaces do we have around all our cells? We have 100 trillion cells. Usually watermelon juice. Almost immediately, or an attack will be starting. Stomach. Extreme acidosis. So you got to get her on these kits, get her kidneys filtered, and get her gut cleaned up. When you start to realize what your problems are, then we've got plenty of tools, and nature's got plenty of tools for us to work with. Well, at least, we could like some more powerful ones for the endos, but you're giving your own, you're answering your own questions by what you're writing here. If you'll look at that. You're already leading into she needs hydration in the morning, extreme acidosis. If she doesn't, she goes into a spasticity, so you know immediately it's the stomach, the gut tissue. That is the nerve ganglia, of course, leading to the adrenal glands. So they're involved, the kidneys are involved, the GI tract is involved, her head is involved. You see what I'm saying? She's backed up. You'll not know to the extent unless you look at a picture of eyes. It's what I'd be looking at is a picture of her eyes, or get a flashlight and get in there. In fact, the first time I remember an attack like this was while at the chiropractor. She suddenly felt very weak, needed something to eat or drink. Absolutely. Now, here's another thing. You know it's the adrenal glands, that's for sure. So her blood pressure is probably low. If it's not, then her bottom is higher, making her top look higher. So what else? He gave another clue here. What else? And he's saying it right here. Felt very weak, needed something to eat or drink. There's something else that can be contributing factors to all of this. Still coming from the adrenal glands, but affecting what? Low blood sugar. Or high. She could have either one. But when she gets bouts of that, you've got, and you ever go without eating long enough, you feel that before you clean up your bowels, you guys that start on these programs, before you clean up the bowels, when you start going raw, you'll start feeling your gut in there. You'll start feeling the changes, and big changes, because when you move from an omnivorous diet of proteins and dairies, your bowels are so inflamed and so irritated and swollen. When you go the other way, you start to feel and hear the gurgling and the changes of chemistry and everything like that. And that's just what's got to go on here with this person here. But you've got to get that stomach taken care of. So you want to give her small meals more often, whether it's stomach, blood sugar, and could be a combination of all these things, guys. That would be my take. She probably has a little of all these things. As far as diet, I say we are 70% raw, 70% of big fruit. Some cooked, but almost always vegan dishes. Yeah, you want to move her right into a raw food diet. You want to take care of this. This is not good. You want to take care of this, right? So go to 100% raw. If you have to do anything cooked, make it steamed soups or veggies, things like that, but stay as raw as possible. Start getting rid of the veggies. Get rid of the veggies, fruits, berries, and melons. Small meals more often. Every 2 or 3 hours, have a big bowl of fruit. We are both taking some of your herbs off and on as fruit permits, as funds permit. Well, this one you want to focus on her, unless there's something big going on with you, but you want to focus on her. Get this done. Get her in there and get her out. Kidneys, bladder, lymph, brain and nerve, upper circ, stomach and bowels. Yeah, all those things that you're doing. Good, good, good. We tried adjusting the diet, adding and taking away exercise. Yeah, be careful with the exercise, massage, aromatherapy, everything we can think of. What else can we do? Get the GI broom. I can see her health deteriorating. It's very concerning for you. You just got to get her kidneys filtering and the acidosis out of her. And it could take you a little while to do that. So all the things we're talking about that, go on that and do that. Hit that. This is Aaron. Also, on a complete side note and way off topic, would you be willing to do a few videos specifically on spirituality and out-of-body travel? Yes, I surely would. I've been struggling with my own spirituality. I need to do that. I focus so much on this health thing. There's so many suffering, and I kind of just been weaving spirituality through these things. And I know some of you probably don't like that, but that's just me. I can't help it. But it's just the way life is, because we've got to grow spiritually and get our physical bodies healthy. That's the end of it. Enough said. But be happy to do that. Need to do that. I've been reading The Tiger's Fang. Whoa, Aaron, by Paul Twitchell, and some Eckhart Tolle's work as well. Tolle's work as well. Still, I wonder. Yeah, The Tiger's Fang is a description of all the planes of God. As many has been discovered, all the different realms of God, and there's a bunch of them. Jesus said, my Father's mansion has many rooms. He was referring to the different levels of the heavens that exist. And there's a lot of levels to God, not just physical and then God. Oh, we should be so ego. It's so involved. You've got mental worlds, emotional worlds, physical worlds. You just got all these levels. And that's what I've been trying to show you, these worlds, because they've been laid out all the way up to the Godhead now. And it's just like exciting stuff. And The Tiger's Fang, well, if you all have a chance to read The Tiger's Fang by Paul Twitchell, it'll give you a good insight to what to expect out of body and what these worlds are like. Exciting stuff. But these are all about other people's journeys. And they're fascinating and it's exciting. But what about your journey? Don't you want to experience some of these things? So your spirituality is definitely related totally to where your attention is placed. If your attention is on yourself or on material things or on others, on emotions or on thought, you will be locked in creation, experiencing creation at all its many fun and unfun levels. But if you take the time to pull back from the bodies and spend time alone into the self and get conscious, just start observing. Don't think. Stop thinking. That's the best doorway I can tell you to help. From there, you can learn how to out-of-body travel by moving your attention wherever you want it to be. And of course, you can't take the body in most of the places you can put your attention. That's how quick you can move mentally. And you can move almost that quick emotionally. You can move out of this body much quicker than you can. This is the slowest, most inert body you have. This is why we're fascinated with beautiful automobiles and planes and trains and things that move. A lot of you would like to come back as birds so you can fly in the sky. Well, you can already fly in the sky. You just can't do it in the physical body. So what? You got plenty of bodies that can fly. But good stuff. I'm glad to see you're reading that. Key to Secret Worlds is another one. There's a whole bunch of Paul Twitchell books. An amazing volume of spirituality works. But that was then. And he was involved in the Master Chila Matrix. I'm not. I'm trying to help you kind of not forego a spiritual being, because there's plenty of us helping you all, but getting into the self, because irregardless of what spiritual being is working with you, it's only you that are going to make the journey. Just like it's only you that are going to eat the raw and fix the body up. No one can do it for you. This is one time no one can do any of this for you. Nor does anybody want to. So Aaron, you're doing good, man. You're doing really good. You got to fix up your wife here a little bit. I don't like what that's going on. But you fix her up, and let me know if you need help doing that. Ultimate health needed before true spirituality? No. No. No, not at all. Matter of fact, some of the most sick people are having out-of-body experiences because they can't stay in the body. It would be nice if they learned to do it more consciously. But no, you don't have to have optimum health to be out-of-body travel. Out-of-body travel, you can be in all kinds of pain. It doesn't matter. It just as pain kind of locks you into the body, but it's how strong you are at moving this attention somewhere else. You're only keeping it tied into the human body, but if I looked over there. I just took a trip. So Paul Twitchell is laying you out a lot of the places you can go. So he's giving you images of these different places that you can actually visit. And if you'll be awake at night, I take a lot of people to these temples and to the 1,000-petal lotus and stuff. So just be aware of colors and temples and stuff in your inner experiences. So you don't need that. You just need to start working on the self, quieting the mind, the chatter of the mind and emotions, desire, thought. Just the desire for spirituality, you just lost it. I want to be more spiritual. I just lost it. That's how subtle. That's how subtle the now is. That's how subtle consciousness versus thought is. It is such a thin razor blade edge. They used to say it's a razor's edge between consciousness and thought. You can see where I'm going with that, totally, my friend. The chicken and the egg dilemma, I sure can. And you are already that which is. So it doesn't matter what you do or what you eat or what anything else, because you already are that which is. You just have to awaken to it. Diets do help. The more the bodies, all of them, the more you're thinking, the more you're in emotional and anxiety problems, the more that you have physical health problems, pain, all of this is going to keep you in the body. It keeps your attention here, it keeps you tied in, unless the pain is so strong and then it pops you out. Sad stuff, in one way of looking at it, I guess. But spirituality can happen at any time. Just getting healthy is like a slingshot. And that's what you want, Aaron. Slingshot yourself to God consciousness. Well, thanks, Nicolas, for that. Oh, gentle soul. Thank you, my friend. I don't know how gentle I am. I like to be a gentle soul. Sometimes, things require more energy. Yeah, thanks for that. I just wanted to make a comment on protein. Oh, wow. Over the years, the shift from protein to fat has become very popular amongst the practitioners, naturopath, and many doctors. I rarely hear anyone focusing on protein anymore, but many taking in lots of omega-3 oils and fats. In fact, many recommend 15% or so of protein and 50% carbs, with the rest of calories coming from fats rich in omega-3. I noticed that. That's where you find the ketosis slipping in with people, which are believed to be anti-inflammatory and helpful to pull acids out of the body. Omega-6 is not recommended, for they would promote inflammation. What are your thoughts on that? Well, I don't know about omega-6 causing inflammation. Never heard that. I don't think any lipids causes inflammation. I think they're all used in the process of, just like you said here. I really do. If you're treating inflammation, which is acidosis, and you're trying to treat yourself, you're going to feel better on a lipid diet, a lipid-rich diet. The problem, because this is the lymph system again, and you're adding more lipids to a system that's already backed up, but lipids are anti-inflammatory. But too many lipids, this is what you don't see. When you look at mother's milk, what do you got, 3% lipids in human mother's milk? And less than 1% protein? Less than 1% protein, only 3% lipids. Baboon milk has 4% lipids, so they're real close. When you start getting up in other lipids, like you get into goat's milk, which is the next animal milk that would halfway be suited besides monkey milk, your lipids are going way up there, way up into the 15 percentiles or more. I'll get these. I'm going to have a meeting with the web people today, and I want to get all this stuff up. I'm chomping at the bit, so you guys can see some of these stats, and we can always improve our stats, because it's tough. If you guys have noticed, it's tough getting pH stats, and there's so many ups and downs and variances. I tell you, it's real tough getting the truth of it all. So just have to realize that when you read something, keep it half open to being not all truthful. Even when we put out something, we're just putting out what we find and research and stuff, so you got to kind of keep an open mind to things sometimes. Always base things on what you know to be true in terms of the species man's is, the types of foods he's designed to eat. That has a lot to do with it. You know, you can't judge an omnivore with a frugivore, with a herbivore, and a carnivore. They're all 4 different classes of species. So you can't make judgment calls like that. I never heard of this about the omega-6. I myself, I don't like supplementation of things. I only recommend evening primrose oil or flax oil in MS cases and some of the high acid cases, just to help with that a little bit, and brain lesions and stuff. But there's plenty of lipids in our foods and stuff. There's plenty of chemistry in our foods, if we get organic foods and picked ripe and stuff like this. The problem is digestion, absorption, utilization, and of course elimination. Most people have all 4 of these things really screwed up. The average person has digestive problems to one extent or another, whether it's pancreatic or gallbladder. One of the two. Their stomachs are messed up, so hydrochloric acid and pepsin can be somewhat of a problem. Then absorption, most people's lymph systems are backed up. The average person has some degree of malabsorption. The average healthy person. And then coming into the utilization, most people's adrenals are down. Well, there's almost 25 minerals that are going to be suffered from that. Most people's parathyroid is down a little bit, so there is some calcium utilization problems in the average person to some extent. So a sum of a little of this. When it's a lot of this, then we have a lot of problems. But all this stuff is very fixable. I think the whole thing comes in here, my friend, with, as you've said, the treatment-based thinking. So naturopaths, I don't know what to say about naturopaths. When I became a naturopath, it is, of course, I'm studying natural hygiene and everything else with it. Raw foods are key, and my naturopathic school was hot on raw foods, high on these. That's why I picked it, because it had the classwork and the type of information I wanted. Now that I learned it, of course, back then there was Southwest was here. It was the only one in America, and I couldn't afford to go to that one. I didn't want that one anyway because it was more medical thinking. That's a no-brainer. You want to run from that level of thinking and get into naturopathic thinking. Naturopathy is the study of nature through science. Well, some of these naturopathic physicians aren't acting like it. And they've studied naturopathic medicine, and I think naturopathic medicine is a complete oxymoron. There's no such thing as medicine in naturopathic work. The whole word is pharmaceutically oriented, as far as I'm concerned. And the only times we would use pharmaceuticals as a naturopath would be your narcotics for pain management. That's the only thing. And we'd get them off of them as soon as we could, and then clean out the chemical residues so addiction wouldn't be there. Any possible way I can hurt myself on high watermelon, orange juice, and grape diets? I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen anybody hurt themselves on this, because, first of all, it's hard to overeat on these foods. And when you do, your body just excretes them out real nice as you please. Most are water soluble, so just really nice. Not like overeating on a high protein or a Thanksgiving meal. But no, I have been eating 80% fruits for over 4.5, wow, and have reached a point where now I can hardly walk without pain from lactic acid, I suppose. What's this? So I have been eating 80% fruits for over 4.5 months and have reached a point where now I can hardly walk without pain from lactic acids, I suppose. All my joints and muscles ache. Well, you know what? It sounds like you're not filtering. Do you check your urine to make sure you're filtering? You know, if you're not filtering, you want to really go after that. You want to go after your kidneys and adrenal glands, because if you're feeling that, these are acids. And it could be you're stirring all these acids up with the fruits, but you're not filtering them. So everybody's just hanging around having a party on you. You know, and that's not good either, because you got to be filtering. If you were filtering, you wouldn't have this problem, because fruits clean all this lactic acid, all this stuff out of you. And it could be not just lactic acid, it could be uric and all the other acids as well. All your joints and muscles ache. I have been dealing with health issues for years. Yeah, and you got to go after those. That's why I like the herbs with this. I know it's affordable, hard to be affordable for some people, but try to get in the kidneys and the adrenals and go after the lymph system's different tissues, the skin, the kidneys, the adrenal glands, the lymph nodes. You want to take herbs for all these things, because this is what it sounds like to me. Because fruit really is what cleans all these acids out, if what? If you're filtering and sweating. So you need to do that, because that's not what fruits do to you. But I am now at the lowest point ever. I've almost called 911 3 times over the past 2 months with 2 episodes of hearth pulse going through the roof for 15 to 20 minutes, or feeling I was going to collapse. You know what? I don't know if you're on herbs or not, but I would get on some herbs. And you want to get on the stomach and bowel herbs. You want to get on some of these things that help you to start getting healthy. You know, this is a good example where diet on this individual is not doing it. Diet alone is not doing it. If he kept going, but I don't like what he's experiencing here. So you could have a serious problem in your stomach. If your pulse is going up like that, it could be, again, the nerve ganglia here is the autonomic, and that reaches to the heart. So you could have a lot of gastric inflammation, stimulating tachycardia here a little bit. That's probably where you're getting that tach, is in the gut. So you want to get on stomach and bowel, whatever number you need, 1 or 2, and get on the GI. Start cleaning all this out and get all this acid out of your system. You've got to go after the joints and things through the kidneys. So hit your kidneys with at least 2 kidney formulas, the adrenal glands, because you're not opening up and filtering. It's what it looks like to me. I don't like what you're saying here. You also want to take a look at blood sugar. You guys ought to get used to blood sugars, blood pressures, things like that, especially you guys are helping others. It's cheap to buy these test kits and stuff like that. If you worry about that, have someone else stick them themselves just to check their blood sugars, but it's just no big deal. You want to check the arm that the lowest blood pressure's in, though, for their blood sugar, just to look. But check both arms for blood pressures and stuff. Because when you pull your blood sugars, blood pressures, you're looking at the eyes, you're looking at some good stats to make yourself an analysis. But you can never, ever, ever, ever go wrong by going after the kidneys, the adrenals, the lymph system, cleaning up the GI tract. That's your protocol. That's your port of entry. That's your focus initially to get everything turned on and hydrated and moving. And my friend, you've got to do this, because I don't like what you're saying here. Some other symptoms of the body's crisis are excess sneezing, insomnia. Yeah, you're loaded. You're loaded. You're loaded full of mucus. You're loaded in the sinuses, up in the head area. There's no question about that. Insomnia, that's a loaded around the pineal. Now you can take, we just talked about taking a pineal gland for that. Sunken eyes, that's kidneys. I mean, you've got some real serious kidneys and adrenals here, is from what you're telling me, because you've been 4.5 months on fruit and you're still not filtering. Not good. So you want to go after that. Shortness of breath, again, weak adrenal glands, low neural responses, low neurotransmitters. And again, that comes right up in the stomach and into the lungs here. So poor memory and concentration, no desire to do anything like reading for more than a few minutes, no appetite, etc. Well, you've got a very acidic body, my friend. So we got to get you opened up. We got to get those kidneys filtering, get your bowels cleaned up, get everything opened up. Start opening up all your doors, bring in the fall weather, feeling good around here. It's not quite fall, but you can still feel that for those that know that can feel subtle changes. I felt it, the first fill was a week ago. I could feel it. I just felt the subtle change. So this is just telling me you have systemic acidosis big time, you have kidney and adrenal weaknesses, you're up here, you're saturated, you got poor memory, you want to get all that crap out of there, man. Upper circumbrain nerve, hitting your kidneys, your adrenals, get your lymph system going. Excuse me. Oh, listen to this. I've been taking a lot of herbs from you, including all the brain and circulation ones, and yet the eyes burn. And oh, look at here. Your eyes are burning and fogginess. So you're loaded. You got to break your sinus loose, man. So, candle your ears. See if that'll help. Hot and cold applications in the back of the head, the neurolymphatic points down your back, hit into the kidneys, the GI tract. This is why I do these things, because if you hit the kidneys and the GI tract, these are the two big blockers. Your GI tract can block your sinuses from draining. Your kidneys can block your whole body from draining. Skin, thyroid down. Skin doesn't sweat. Everything's locked in. So you just got to turn on everything on. If your basal temperatures are low, get on that thyroid. Get your skin sweating. Get your kidneys filtering. Go after those. At least 2 kidney forms. An adrenal form. If your blood pressure is real low, do the glandular, do the adrenal with licorice. Go after these things. Because that's the only way you get successful. And what you're telling me here, you're one big acid, my friend. No offense. But when you've got burning eyes and stuff like that, that's why you're fighting this. You are one big acid, man. You got to get all your body opened up. Get your kidneys filtering here. Get all this fogginess out. I've been on the GI broom also. I was diagnosed with cellular dehydration years ago. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's why you're so burning up all over the place, man. And also, osteoporosis is age 39. Well, I mean, you're sucking the calcium right out of you. That's what dehydration does, Burns your electrolytes up. Can all these symptoms be caused from years of severe dehydration? Well, let's go a little further. What would be the next you could add to that? And severe dehydration would be because of years of lymphatic stagnation. See where I'm going to that? And that would be years of lack of kidney filtration, low adrenal work, so it means your myelin sheaths and neurological system's probably been slowly creeping down. And you're just waking up to all this. You've been doing a lot of things, but for some reason, your doors aren't opening. So I don't know whether you're not focused, or you're going back and forth. I don't know. But get yourself focused. Get yourself focused on a raw diet, like the fruits, berries, and melons. Get yourself focused on an herbal regimen. You want the GI broom, you want the stomach and bowel, you want a lymphatic capsule and a kidney capsule. Tinctures, you want a kidney tincture. You want a lymph node tincture. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve, I would definitely have those in there. Parasite M. I would probably do a liver, gallbladder, and then switch it to a skin. I would do the endocrine gland, adrenal, and licorice root tincture. If you want to deal with the insomnia, put yourself on a glandular of the pineal type. 1 or 2 hours BS before sleep. If so, with much sulfur in the body and much pain everywhere, well, now you're adding to this list of things that I can blame. If you've got a lot of sulfur in your body, look at that too, my friend. Sulfur's a little harder. Don't get upset. Sulfur's a little harder to get out. That's why I used to call it a super glue. But you want to get this sulfur out of you, because that also says you're high fungused. And that might be what you're fighting. It's not lactic, but uric. Because if you have sulfur, you can count on the high fungus, and then you can count on the high uric acid. And then sulfur itself is an irritant. No one likes that gassy, bloaty stuff. Boy, I tell you, when you look at this planet is in a hell of a shape for such a beautiful place. You're right on here. With much sulfur in the body and much pain everywhere, should I stop all physical activity? Boy, that wouldn't be a bad idea. If you're not filtering and you're doing a lot of physical activity, and we've talked about this, guys, and this might be a good example for this, where this gentleman's doing a lot of exercise without kidney filtration, and his joints and everything are hurting bad. I've warned about this over and over and over again. People don't think I know what I'm talking about sometimes, but so all I can say is that I'd be doing a little bit of relaxing for a while and fixing my lymph system and my kidneys first. Quit adding all the acids to the mix, because once you get acid on top of acid on top of acid on top of acid, there's no fun, and it's a hell road to get back. So it's a good example here. The things I've been saying about that, this gentleman's saying a good example of what he's putting up with doing this. He's wanting to, yes, I would restrict exercise for a few months, move as little as possible, trying to hydrate. Boy, I would. And you got to let chemistry dehydrate you. Meaning you've got to get filtration going, you've got to get the high electrolyte chemistry, that the fruits and the berries and the melons. It's a way to go. I am down to 126 pounds with 6 foot tall. You have the pictures of my eyes on file. Oh, wow. Well, then I would have your whole look on file here, huh? I have not really drank too much water over the years, but focused on juices from fruit. I think that's been smarter. That you were just doing smarter. Because what are you going to do with water? You want to do the fruits because not only do you have the high electrolytes for hydration, but you have the astringent properties, you have all the goodies, you got everything. It just makes sense to do fruits for hydration. Fruits, berries, and melons. Then water. Just makes better sense. I am thinking of drinking now at least 8 glasses of clean water a day and some with bicarbonate. You know, I would say this. I wouldn't kick it up too much, but you might do a little baking soda, a little pinch of baking soda in your juices to kick it up with bicarbonate. If you're running low, if you've got a blood work up and your carbon dioxide, which they mean bicarbonate, is low, you're supposed to look on your blood work for CO2, which they mean bicarbonate, which is what? H2CO3 or whatever. Then you want to do a little pinch. If your bicarbonate is low in your blood work, go on the pancreatic form. You start working with your pancreas. And take a little pinch of baking soda, aluminum free, in with your juices and stuff. This will help you to start getting some more hydration. I know you're against alkaline water. Nah, I'm not against alkaline water. I'm against, let's put it this way. And I'll put this in proper context. I'm not against alkaline water. I'm against too alkaline of water. Right? See, I'm not against things. I'm against things out of balance. Because then you're getting yourself back out of balance again. And now you got to pull yourself into balance. And you got to remember, life is controlled by pHs at one level. So when your blood is 7.4 and you're bringing in 9 Keegan waters, there's a law in physics and chemistry of homeostasis. And so you're going to bring that 7.4 up toward 9. You're also going to bring the 9 down. So I can see where you could probably settle somewhere around 8 or above 8. This could give you into alkalosis. I'm not quite sure how alkaline your blood can take without going into alkalosis. This is why when you eat fruits, berries, and melons, you're not eating all alkaline chemistry. You're getting phosphorus, manganese, you're getting your acid chemistry in there. But in proportionate, base chemistry dominates. Your calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, they dominate. And that's as it should be in chemistry on the planet. That's why man can't make formulas of chemistry. He doesn't know how to do that yet. So when you supplement your world with supplements made by man, you're throwing your body chemistry out of whack again. And then this affects ionization, oxidation, methylation. You can go right in all these cycles that are affected by chemistry out of balance. And we can't balance body chemistry. We've tried naturopathically. That's the trouble. Can't do it. You can't balance the body's chemistry through biochemistry methods. Not feasible. There's too many cofactors involved in biochemistry, lack of understanding. You must simply eat the foods your body's designed to eat and the best quality of those foods you can get. It's all you can do. start cleaning and fixing the body up. That's all you can do. I know you are against alcohol. Again, and the same thing. What else is it? I'm not against a lot of things. I'm against the overuse of them, or some things that has a potential to hurt you, like far infrared. Someday when I know I can show you pictures on this site, I mean, I'm showing you some gruesomes, but nothing to what we have here. So I'd like to show you some pictures of what infrared treatment in Europe did to this lady's breast. I don't know if I can do that. But I make judgment calls on what I see and, of course, what we think about it. Because radiation, anytime you isolate radiation, you have a potential. Same thing with chemistry, you have a potential for harm. And isolates don't work fractionally like holistic things do. In other words, if I pull calcium and magnesium out of a blueberry and give it back to you, which is going to have a more powerful action on your body, the blueberry or the calcium magnesium I pulled out of the blueberry? The blueberry. Chemistry is meant to work. I was just getting ready to call you.
I'm here in a little bit.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. Kidney stone. Horrible. I feel I must try something different. Stretching is even too much and promotes tissue damage days later. I mean, you're one big acid, and there's fun. Nicolas, you're one big acid. Be careful how you deal with this. You're on the right path, but you've got to get focused and get these kidneys and adrenals moving. You've got to get yourself filtering here. If you have to use licorice root and adrenal tincture, I would. If you've been on the glandular adrenal, go to the adrenal herbs and get licorice root with it. We have that too to help work with the adrenals here. But you've got to get yourself filtering, and you've got to get yourself done out of here. You might put some avocados in your diet just for some lipids. A little more lipids, but again, it's your lymph system that absorbs the lipids, and if your lymph system is stagnant, the absorption of lipids are going to be minimal. See, all this compounds everything on top of everything. Bottom line, I can't do anything anymore without pain and burning sensation. Even laying down for many hours is painful now. I must get up and move, I guess, help the lymph movement. Well, don't do any of your acid fruits. Stay in your subacid fruits. Blueberries, blackberries, I would use those. Grapes, apples, peaches, pears. The trouble is there's hardly anything ripe that looks good out there, so I don't know what to tell you. Get your watermelons, get everything you can to move it out. If you have to, you can suck down some green drinks, but I don't know. You're so acidic that it's just going to take some time, but your focus needs to be on kidney filtration. So if you're working with one of the girls over here or something, you get working with that. Even if we have to do a kidney glandular or a bottle or two, anything we have to do to shake those kidneys to open, because you've got to get yourself filtering or there is no change. I'll say this over and over again. You can't get your kidneys to filter. I don't see any improvements, or very little, because this is all about that. This is all about a system that's down in most of us from kidney and adrenal problems. And again, our adrenals, and here's another problem we face, guys, and let's get right to these things. Most people's adrenals are in chronic levels. I had a case I told you the other day where the adrenal gland, she told me she had an adrenal tumor, found out she had it removed. The adrenal gland. In her eyes, the adrenal definitely had a lesion there, black with thick lymph around it. So the lymph had been killing that adrenal all these years and probably born with that. So here's the other problem. How chronic is our adrenal glands, and how fast can we get them up to turn on the kidneys? We need the adrenal glands, but we're in the chronic levels of them. Matter of fact, I would say this, in most people, the adrenals are down more than the kidneys. Look at all the eyes that I've been doing all these years, and I watched that. And So you've got to work on those two very important issues. Stay away from acid fruits, the best way I can tell you. And keep working that out. If I have to take a look at your chart personally, you get with one of the girls here, Nicolas, because you got to open this door here before you break yourself down too much. Because there's nothing you can take here. You can get a little more lipids in there to help you. You can even eat primrose oil, use some flax or something, maybe help you with that. But you really got to get your lymph moving. This is exactly a case of extreme lymph stagnation, burning, and pain. That's acids. Getting them out, learning what the problem is half of the battle, right? Or a fourth of the battle. The big battle is now going after it and getting it done. It's funny, we had to battle just to get this information on this planet. Now that we have it, we have a ton of work to do to fix it. So it's just, I don't know what to say about it. I'm considering searching for a neurologist or endocrine specialist to get some sort of diagnosis. It don't matter. It's all acidosis, bro. You don't need to worry about it because there's nothing they can give you for this. That's the problem. You could run the parasite in pretty heavy. Do 2 dropperfuls 4 times a day for a while. Try to get this fungus down in your body because I take it you have sulfur. And if you have sulfur, then you have probably high uric acid levels as well. So you might go heavy after the fungus as well. Not really interested in treatments, but a sense of knowing or understanding where's your eyes? I'd have to... Tell you what I'll do. If they can find I'll take a look at your eyes for you, Nicolas, and see what I see in there and see what's going on, because I don't like anything here you're saying about that. And I know you're hurting, but this is a, and forgive me, I use your case, but this is a good case to show you guys why you have to get the kidneys going. It's conceivable that you could be on fruits and everything else and still just not get the kidneys filtering yet. We are suffering from very chronic levels. So you're like me. We're in the dark with some of these things. This is not a focus on this planet yet, and it needs to be. You guys and me and a few others are focusing, and this is just what we need to do because this is real stuff here. Needless to say, I must have gambled wrong in the past, and the day or incarnation of reckoning has come. Now, man, well, yeah. Karma, yeah. But you can open these doors up and get this done, and you want to, Nicolas. So stay with us. Get a hold of a girl there. Let's see if we can get you opened up and get you done sooner than later. Now you're piquing my interest with your eyes, so I have Chris pull them, and we'll take a look at them here. And on the next video, I'll comment on this. The truth is, but this deals with a lot of people out there that are having similar situations. They're just not getting their bodies to filter yet. The truth is, I am not even worried about me as much as the loved ones who would suffer from the wasting away so early. Quit wasting away and get this turned around. I know I am not the body. I am, yeah, I know you are. You are the consciousness. I wish God would spare my mother the sorrow. Would you quit it? You get this turned around, Nicolas. I'll help you get this turned around. Let's take a look at your case. I'll have them do that. But you be thinking what I've been telling you here. You're not filtering. You've got to open your doors. And so I would get into the subacid categories, maybe some sweets, maybe a green drink, help to buffer some things, get on some lipids, help you a little bit with the pain there. So you could definitely do a 3, 6, and 9 if you wanted to. I don't know. I've never heard whether 6s causes inflammation. Never heard of that. You know, there's so much crap out there. It's just, ugh. Welcome to the world of theories and ideas. And when you look at how they come to these conclusions, sometimes it's a joke. That's what 60 Minutes found out. So I sense already, I know the answers. I know you do. But I will look at your case. I really do. Love you, my friend. Thanks, Nicolas. But I will, I'll tell Chris. I don't want to get this too long of a video. But looky here, and there's more in the chute this morning. These are the ones I haven't got to yet. And these are the ones I'm trying to get done today, but I'm not going to get to them all. But you know I'm trying for you, right? And so you also know that you don't wait if you have a serious problem. You call in here and get some help. It's one thing to listen to these videos and get ideas to get yourself through these. But if you're hurting real bad, I've said this many, many times, if you're at stage 4 or something, you don't wait till I ask you something, answer your questions. You get right in here. These are just people, easy to talk to. If they're not, I'll take care of it. Dr. Morse, what are your thoughts on the... Wow. Annunaki? I don't know how to pronounce this. Annunaki, creating humanity and reptilian species living amongst us below the Earth's surface. Also, how about the 6 extinct human races in the past and Lord Enki, our true creator? Interesting. I don't know about the Annunaki, creating humanity. I don't know about that. I mean, there are so many thoughts, and if you watch Ancient Aliens, I think it's called, it goes back and shows you the cave dwellings and stuff, and you can tell. There's this city that was buried on, I was watching it last night, there's this city they found buried on purpose. And this simple, loving shepherd in the field found this city that was buried by its own people, going about 7,000 years ago. So, interesting stuff. And the way the stones were cut, they were cut. You don't have stones like 10-ton, 20-ton stones, 50-ton stones, cut, fit perfect within. I mean, it was just so done. Amazing stuff. So you got to realize in creation and time that time is no such thing. You know, creation's been going on forever. And, you know, plants are around forever. I mean, it's just been going on and on and on. There's no time, so you can't put time to it. So I don't know. I think that, I think when you look at this level, so if you looked at the levels and you said, okay, there's different heavens, and let's just say we just said at this level there's the physical world, this level's the emotional world, this level's the mental world, up here's the soul worlds, and then Godhead. If we were looking at it that way, everything's kind of immersed. But if you were to look at it stacked on top of each other that way, the Godhead, and then goes down into creation from there, you've got a lot of different levels, again, as Jesus said. But I don't know what to say about that. I know I got beat up talking about reptilians. Jesse Ventura did a show on reptilians. He'd been asked a lot. I've seen one. I totally believe in their existence. They are shapeshifters. These are non-physical beings that can become physical. They can inhibit a body easy. There are thoughts that, from the queen down, because again, those of you that really understand law and understand the truth, understand that America is not owned by America. It has always been owned by the queen. The Revolutionary War was not won by the colonies, guys. You look at that and understand what's been going on by the Queen and how they've controlled. Remember, all our law dictionaries have always had the kings and queens in them. Finally, they kind of changed it to give some, but it's all the UCC. What about the Uniform Commercial Code? When a cop pulls you over, he's not arresting you by law. You can't arrest a sovereign under all these corporate fascisms, what's going on now. I mean, when I get this judges thing, you'll see, but it echoes what we all know and been studying for years. It's the takeover by the trilaterals. It's a takeover by the World Bank of the globe. They've been planning this. They're now vocal about it, and that's because they know you can't stop them now. So these reptilians have infiltrated our society, from what I know. And I had, after I had mentioned them on a video, I got some these not nice things about me, and I said, well, I've seen one. A lady came in my appointment, one of our YouTubers, and she said, we've been studying and following them for years. So I don't know what to tell you, guys. I'm telling you that the war is not just here. The war is everywhere. And we've got species coming and been coming to this planet for a long time. Whether we're from that, I don't know. They claim these alien balls have something to do with it. Who knows? It's just enough to say that God's worlds are massive. And the only thing that you can know for sure and that you can control for sure is yourself. And you can't even control that until you become conscious, because your mind has totally been brainwashed by the governments. And this isn't just the governments, and I know people don't want to hear this, but this was one of the questions, and I can tell you, you all must learn to protect yourselves in a lot of ways. The move is on for globalization. It's been going on in front of our eyes. We've been demonstrating about it, but the average person has no idea. They're just looking for security. Fear in humans is high, and it can't be, because you're in a war here for your very existence here. Why do you think they are building all these fusion centers? And I've tried to warn you about fusion centers. Even the guy we had working for us that worked for FEMA, Roger, right? He knows very much about the fusion centers. Anybody working for FEMA knows about them. These aren't prisons for prisoners. These are for people. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to get people upset on this channel because this is about health, and I do like spirituality. But spirituality means awakening and learning about what's going on. I just think humans have had their head buried so long that the planet is already taken over. The World Bank has basically taken over everything. It's only God can straighten it out, but it's its creation. So what are we here for? To experience, and there's all different levels. You know, one lifetime you could be a narcissistic elitist, and the next lifetime digging ditches and going, look at those narcissistic elitists. So, you know, it's just life and the way it is. My big thing is you. Because it doesn't matter what's going on this planet or any other planet or any other dimension. The reality is you and your awareness and your joy or pain and suffering. How to change all of this and to get strong within the self. That's the message of the day. Because there's some big things coming that's not real good. Some of these are a little long, so I'm going to try to get to them at another time. Jeanette, Jeanette, dear sir, call me Robert or Dr. Morse. I've been listening to ND Morse's presentations for 2 days now, and raw with some lapses for about 3 weeks. Had some detox symptoms here and there. I had a recent dream. I saw a specialist doctor who gave me a warm compress for my nose and said to blow. The snot ran and ran. I pay attention to dreams. I do too. Because, you know, it's just you in a different dimension experiencing, you know. Of course, you could be looking at some places and you can have some conscious runoffs of karma and stuff like that. That's going on all the time too. But wait till you get to some lucid dreams where you're actually traveling and very aware of your surroundings. The more aware you get, the more lucid your experiences are. So it's no more, this becomes the dream world. Oh yeah, no. This is truly the dream world. You don't know that till you become more awake. When you're more awake, then you start to realize, oh, wait a minute, this is the dream. This isn't the reality, this is the dream. I'm the dreamer. Absolutely. Oh, this is good stuff. Robert discusses mucus. Maybe this is a good place for guidance. It just means you're loaded. Yeah. If you're a type 1 diabetic, you probably have mucus not only here, but in the islands of Langerhans, around those babies, around the B cells, the beta cells. Because when you look at this, mucus suppresses yours. Think about this. How many of you can smell? And how many of you struggle to smell? Or how many of you are smelling by memory? We've talked a lot about this. When you get loaded with mucus, you start memory smelling, not actual smelling. And so cleaning that out brings the olfactories back real loud and clear. But all this mucus. Now you get mucus in the pancreas, you get mucus in the liver, you get fat to build up. So you get fatty livers, fatty pancreases, you get fatty everywhere. Acidosis, inflammation. So yeah, you want to go after that. Now, You could have a neurological type 1, a pituitary type 1, because of all this mucus. Clean all this mucus out, and it could increase beta cell production of insulin. The problem is, being on insulin is a hormone, and you'll weaken your ability to produce it on your own. This is why Marcy and some of the ones have had a little bit of a kickback. Now you're seeing them getting off of them, because Marthy's been with us a couple of years now. So now she's starting to see her cycles come and clean up. And so she's got a lot of type 1s now off of insulin and all that. But remember, when you're on insulin, you're fighting yourself, because you're telling your beta cells to not produce it, and yet you want them to produce it. See the catch-22 you get in? That's why I say, if you can get your blood sugars around 200, forget insulin. Have your medical doctor put you on glucophage or metformin or something. Forget the insulin. When you can substitute a little metformin or glucophage for that, I would, because the insulin is a hormone. You don't want to go that route if possible. So if you can get down to that. But again, all our type 1s go on fruits, no vegetables. Whoa! This person had type 1 diabetes and had cancer, left hand gone. Holy crap. No wonder you write this way. And have had 13 amalgams removed, 34-year-old female. Are you serious? Sweetheart, you lost your hand because of cancer? Or you lost your hand because of the treatment of cancer? That's how I guess you lost your hand. Oh my God, honey. Well, Jeanette, you know what, sweetheart? Detox, detox, detox. Get all this mucus out of your head and everywhere else. You're only 34 years old, honey. Get your body cleaned up here, sweetheart. Get your type 1 gone out of here. Kidneys and adrenals are down. This could be a neurological type 1. You got to go after all this. As you know, we go after it. I don't want to repeat this every time because losing my breath. It's enough to say, get on a detox, 14-week protocol, whatever. Get this out of you, because you know your lymph system's down. That's what causes all this problem. And of course, to have the cancer, you had to have the lymph down. So there's your kidney and adrenals. But then you could have the stretch to the beta cells from the adrenals even, the autonomic ganglia. So you want brain and nerve too. You want to go up and up at the head, get a picture of your eyes, take a look at what you're up against, sweetheart. And get some here maybe to help you or something. But honey, my God, you got to go into your lymph system and go after this. You know, oh my God. And fix yourself up, sweetie, okay? Be glad to help you do that. You see how much suffering has been going on out there? It's a nightmare. All these poor people. Of course, everything's karma, so when you're going through these things, she has to realize that she could have killed someone with this hand or hurt something real bad. Therefore, the karma was that. But let me give you all the opportunity to burn your karma off and get free of it. That's just what we're offering you here. That's all the spiritual guides. I'm speaking for them. So those of you that want to end the insanity, start paying attention to quit thinking and getting beyond your mind and working with your out-of-body and with your spiritual guides. For those who just want to get their body healthy, okay, I get you. Latilla? Hi, I have started your diet, mostly fruits, berries, and melons, but I was wondering what you are thinking of the Ayurvedic medicine or Chinese herbs, which recommend to eat some fish or food cooked because of... No, none of that at all. But the herbs, I like Ayurvedic herbs. I love traditional Chinese medicine. I love those. I love herbs. You can never go wrong with herbs. Good quality herbs and good quality formulas. The problem with the formulas, look at the difference. You got to try our new glycerin formula. Just get a glycerin formula at a health food store, just any child glycerin formula, any glycerin formula, and take a taste test difference. You can taste a taste test difference with any herbal formula in ours to show you the power difference. And when you're going after that, between the botanicals and the right fruits, berries, and melons, I mean, you're at the top of the mountain. Some might take you a while, but, use them right and to focus. Took me a lot of years to learn how to use herbs right and for the proper reasons. And now you can have good detox and get successful with them. If you use herbs to treat, You fall right back into the medical thinking again. So, thanks a lot from you too, my dear one. Yeah, I don't care which herbs you use, but the fish and stuff like that. If you choose to have a piece of fish once, if you're not dealing with what they call the cancers or the fibromyalgia, the extreme mutation of the body from extreme acidosis, like this poor gentleman, so acidic, and the lady that cries the tears, you don't want to do proteins with these. But for those of you that are not hurting too bad, that don't have any big deals, you have a piece of fish with a salad once in a while, who cares? I'm not down on those sort of things. Killing animals, killing anything, I don't have that in me. I'm a warrior. Death isn't something that happens. It is an illusion of life. You can't kill anything, really. So, but you have to be leveled to understand that. You have to understand that nothing dies here. Atomically, we're just rearranging atoms. Consciousness-wise, you just move into another form, or you go back home. Either way. So really, there is no death as you might see it. It's just transformation. It's just changing of forms. That's all there is. You can't kill anything. It's all within the body of God. You can't make anything disappear. It just changes form. So, I don't mind a little of that once in a while if you want to do something like that. Just kind of gives you some, I can do this. It's just kind of a pat on the back, believe it or not. It's what you would call comfort foods, emotional comfort foods. And I go through that once in a while. I get so down, all this incredibly hurting people and sick people. Sometimes I just go, I got to have something bad. A little cookie or a little something just to, you know what I'm saying? I've got 3 very long questions that I'm going to save for the next video because they're all very in-depth, and I'll be back to them. Okay. Dear sir and respected team, yes, thank you. I love you already. I started losing my hair when I was 15. Ouch. That don't sound good, does it? No, because when you're losing hair, what's doing it? Well, you're now all getting into the world of chemistry and physics here with me, and then chemistry is real easy. There's only 2 sides to it, so the acid side is the corrosive side. That's the side I'm going to tear you down. That's the acid side. And so you're very acidic up in the scalp area. Yes, we could have weakened genetic cells in the scalp and things like that, but the real clincher is the acidosis. And if you have the weak cells in the scalp and stuff, how'd you get them? From someone else in your family team that had acidosis in the scalp really, really bad. So that's sad already. Of course, tests showed everything fine except bilirubin levels 3 times high. Well, just clean up your GI tract and your liver and everything, and that'll all go normal again. I wouldn't worry about that. Clean yourself up a little bit there, my friend. I started having the white of my eyes. Yeah, that's what I mean. You want to clean up your liver a little bit, but you want to clean up the GI tract too. Now, when I say all that, I'm also meaning that you've got to get to that lymph system. That's the universal, I'm going to hurt you. The universal in your body, I'm going to hurt you, comes from the acid side of chemistry, and the lymph system is there to try to stop that. And that I'm going to hurt you acids is just poop from cells and parasites that's breaking down the poop from the cells. So you just got to have a lymph system that's filtering properly, and you'll have no symptoms. No tumors, no inflammation, no pain, no nothing, honey. But you've got to get to this system. And the younger you are, the more of this system you have in trouble. We have not helped you guys. We've compounded our weaknesses, not knowing any better, because we just ate, as the American Dietetics Association so described, how our schools and our governments dictated our lunches. So we've been following what the governments have been telling us. Maybe it's that we need to eliminate the population that's the problem. So your whites of your eyes turn yellow as a bilirubin. That's your hepatic area. So you want to clean your gallbladder and liver out. Clean yourself out there. When I was, I think you meant young, like around 6 or 8. No kidding. Well, so a lot of young ones are coming in with digestive problems, guys, and they're giving them pedicure or insure type crap. Where do you see the chemistry difference between that and mother's milk? High proteins, way. I mean, I think there's 6% protein in pedicure, something like that. I know there's 16% in insure. So you got 16% protein, and in human mother's milk you have less than 1%. High protein, high protein. So that acidifies your little baby already. How about lipids? Out the roof. You know, you just get foods that clog your babies, not save them, not feed them. This is insanity what's going on this planet in health. Yeah, it's benign, one of the weirdest of the world. Wow. Well, you know what? You just clean out your hepatic area. There's always a biochemical explanation somewhere. So just clean out from the broader view, from the more of the infinite view. You want to pull back and get your diet straightened around. Get yourself on fruits, and start getting upper circ, brain and nerve, on the liver, gallbladder for me. Clean up the GI tract. Get your kidneys and adrenals up and going, because there's always a pathway through the adrenals on all these things, like with iron and things. I had wonderful thick. The hair cutter would often complain when I was young, up until when I was 14. So that shows you that your lifestyle, the food you were eating, and of course you probably got this out of your mom, but the food you were eating were just super clogging you. Well, I don't know if you're doing milk and dairy, you had to be, because that clogs the upper head real quick. And then, of course, as you clog yourself, you suffocate, you acidify, you break down. When I was 15, that I started having discomfort peeing. At 15, discomfort peeing. That's what I'm saying. At 15 years old, guys, you all have kidney and adrenals. You got to go in and fix them. And so here's just an example. Discomfort peeing, making me unable to sleep, since I was always had this impression that I needed to pee. I also remember a terrible scratching of the scalp after sport. You might also check into your pituitary, and you could do that with a picture of your eyes, because I would be really wanting to look at my pituitary gland, just with this urination thing, just to see. I also remember terrible scratching of the scalp after sports. So that really just showed you had high fungus, and of course you were creating more acids during sport, so you would have more acidosis in the body, and that can make for itching and stuff, but also the increasing of the fungal stuff. Very much like my hair was suffocating. And basically, it's funny you say that, because basically it's probably what was happening. Probably just what was happening. All this mucus that builds up in the body from dairy proteins and stuff like this suffocates. I've always said this. How would you just take about about 4 or 5 real thick blankets and put them all around you, over your head and everything, and then try to breathe and have fun? When you get thick mucus around cells, and you see that in the brain in Alzheimer's, what is called amyloid plaque, we can put a nice name on it, in the bowel mucoid, but it's still mucus. It's still the same thing you see in cancer cells. It's the same thing you see everywhere, because the same thing happens every time to every cell. You have an immune response to what? Inflammation, acidosis. It's the acids that kill us, guys. It was also when I was 15 that I started going out, got my first night drinking, half a bottle of pure vodka. Woohoo! Oh, my vodka's all gone. Anyway, I've gone vegan on and off since I was 23. I am now 26. Yeah, you want to get that upper circulation. Stay on upper circ for a while and refurbish these hair follicles, but also get your head cleaned out, or you'll be heading for an Alzheimer's at 50, man. You don't want to do that. You want to back yourself out of this. This isn't good. And fix your kidneys and adrenal glands, son, because this is part of the problem. After many attempts, I found how to stay vegan completely. I recently discovered Dr. and has his no oil speech. I've been on it for 2 weeks now. Needless to say, I have severely cut the alcohol too. Needless to say. However, I still experience scalp inflammation after eating. You know what? This is your whole body, man. You detox your body head to toe. You got to get your sinuses drained, clean up your gut, get your kidneys filtering, and you'll be in good shape then. Don't half-ass it. You're too young to half-ass this. But I am convinced it is linked to my hair loss. Some mornings when I wake up after having drank just one beer the night before, the friends I have spastic, terrible pain. Yeah, it's all acidosis, man. But you're at the point where you're so acidic now, you're getting spasticity. You don't want that. You know why? Because if you keep pushing it, the possibility of getting into seizures or, anything like that would be possible. So you want to back down right now. We've got plenty of young people in seizures, and you want to back away from this. So I would go on to upper circ, brain and nerve too. I'd then get into my kidneys, my adrenals, my lymphatic system, my GI tract, my liver, gallbladder. Go in and clean these things out, guy, and then you're done. And you've got a whole life ahead of you with full faculties, full hair, full everything. But the way you're going, things are going to start breaking down at an early age. And what would happen to me in my 70s and 80s will happen to you in your 20s. That's how this is right now. You can't look at those that are met older, and it's just not happening. A lot of young people dying right now. Some mornings when I wake up after having, I got that. My theory is this one. The blood vessels feeding the hair follicles are very small. Possible. That's why upper circ. You get your blood more aggressively. But don't forget your lymph system, because that's the worst part of this. Much like erectile dysfunction, they would be, it could. So that's why the upper circulation. The brain and nerve, of course, is for the cells themselves. But, don't forget the sewer system in the head. That's the itching. That's all the other stuff. That's the inflammation. That's not the blood, it's an inflammation. That's the lymph system. So don't forget that one ever. That should always be number one in your thoughts. Then all these other parts, number 2, number 3. Could it be that years of bad eating damage the linings of the capillaries, therefore making the hair suffocate and thus causing hair loss? Well, to that, you could be getting occluded in the wall of the capillaries, making that thin. But that would be ischemia. And ischemia, you're going to know that, because when you start getting less and less blood to hair follicles, you're going to have pain. Well, that could be your pain from that. And it could be ischemic pain, but your medical doctor should be doing ultrasound or something and know about that. But this would still all be acidosis and the lymph system doing it, because how you fatten or compromise the thickness of the vascular wall, only even being 1 cell thick, there's lymph everywhere, guys. Lymph everywhere. I like this theory as it makes hair loss a secondary effect. Well, it is a secondary effect anyway, man. It already is a secondary effect. And the first cause is always lymph. If the blood is involved, which you don't want involved, that's going to be way on down the line. Always primary, lymph. And you want to get this done right. Upper circ, brain, and nerve, then go into the lymph system and move it out. Yeah, exactly. You're right. I am to expect good results taking the oils out. Taking the oils out. I don't know what you mean by that, but all I have to say is if you take oils out of the body, you're going to be in more trouble. A lot more trouble. An iridologist that reviewed my eyes a year ago said that he could distinguish high enough cholesterol presence to be remarked. Uh-oh. 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 You're 26 and your iridologist remarked cholesterol ring? Uh-oh. You're in trouble. So, you don't pull the oils out, you put them in. But we want to get this oil out. or get it out of where the location that you're plaquing it, because this sounds what you're doing is you're plaquing it. So the lymph system is the only way to get this cholesterol out of you. And this means you have the adrenals and kidneys down, my friend, and you're very acidic lymphatically. Just the things I've been telling you here. So this is the focus you need to have for a lot of reasons. Forget just the hair. How about your consciousness? How about your happiness and your joy and your memory? Things like that, son. You're on the road to losing these things. So, yeah, I'm glad you told me that one. That's not good. So there could be some ischemic changes to the scalp, but it's all lymphatically oriented. By opening up the lymph, you'll open up the cholesterol plaquing, and then you'll get good blood flow, but still upper circ. What do you think about this path to solving my hair loss? What do you think can be the link with my lower liver and how the kidneys link to hair loss, as you mentioned in the videos of yours? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the kidneys to all of them. Kidneys to the liver, kidneys to the scalp, kidneys to everybody, because they're the center of the lymph system. They're the core eliminative organs. So absolutely. I thank you very much for your time, and I love you, my friend. You get on to this. You get on to this. I'm going to have to I'll have to get on to this the next time. There's so much to talk about. Oh my God, there's so many people in trouble. But just remember that most of man's trouble is in with the lymph system, and thank God there's a remedy to fix it. Some of you younger guys and gals, you know, you got to deal with genetic memories of cells, okay. But changing your lifestyles over is vital. Becoming free of the mind and control of propaganda and all the conditioning is important. Get yourself free from what they've been doing to the humans on this planet and still enjoy the planet while you're still on it. Take care of the human body. Get yourself spiritualized. It means more awake, more open. Learn how to live in that now, in the moment. Let things just happen and work through you. And that way you'll work things off. Enjoy yourself. You want to cheat, you cheat. You want to do this, you do this. We got that done. That's a lot. So I love you guys. You take care of yourselves. And I'll keep trying to plow the field here and get this done to you. But may the blessings be. Have fun today.